Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We actually have a broadcast of the fiscal year 2017 FSS Notice of Funding Availability. My name is Michelle Daniels, and I am a Housing Program Specialist from the Office of Public Housing and Vouchers Program. With me is Darren Dorsett, who is also a Housing Program Specialist from the Office of Public Housing and Vouchers Program. And also with us is Tremaine Humans, who's a Neighborhood and Community Investment Specialist from the Office of Public Housing Investments. Today's broadcast will be available on our FSS webpage. And right now we will get started. This is the agenda, which currently houses the titles and sections for the slides for your reference. The overview. Applications must be received and validated by Grants.gov no later than the due date as noted in the NOFA. Funding available this term is approximately $75 million. We are currently presenting certain areas of the NOFA, so please read the NOFA in its entirety. Also, please read the fiscal year 2017 general sections carefully, because they comprise the full set of application submission instructions that are available or applicable to the program. You may access a copy of the NOFA and the general sections on Grants.gov and under Funds Available on the HUD webpage. The application itself can only be accessed from Grants.gov. Now we'll talk about summary of changes. We have a few this year. The HUD 52651, which is the FSS application form, it continues to be included as an electronic fileable form through Grants.gov. The form has been revised to add salary comparability information. This is under Part 4 of the FSS application form. You can see Section 4B2C of the NOFA for more information. The maximum salary amount is $72,000. That's approximately 3% increase from the fiscal year 2016 maximum salary amount. And this is for renewals and new positions. Salary comparability information must support the increase. PBRA Residents. The fiscal year 2015 appropriations law continues to allow PHAs and/or project-based rental assistance PBRA property owners to continue to offer enrollment in FSS to residents in PBRA projects, including RAD converted properties. PHAs may use funds awarded under this NOFA to serve any PBRA residents affected by RAD or not for their FSS program. PBRA owners that are not PHAs may implement their own FSS program, but they are not eligible to receive funding under this NOFA. PIC data. Only data entered into the PIC system will be reviewed to determine funding availability under this NOFA. There are no additional documentation that are allowed, only for tribes, TDHEs, moving to work PHAs, and PHAs that serve PBRA families may submit additional documentation. Please see Section 4B1 for more information. Administrative and training costs. These are allowable costs, but they're subject to the provisions as described in Section 2A1 of this NOFA. Performing public housing or HCV functions. These functions are allowed as long as it enhances the effectiveness of the FSS program, and HUD approval must be obtained from your local field office before the FSS coordinator can begin performing these functions. Target period. The target period is the period HUD will use to review data in the PIC to verify number of participating families and other relevant information. The target period is from January 1st, 2016 to December 31st of 2016. Eligibility information. We're going to speak on that now. And eligible applicants are only PHAs, including MTW, and tribes, TDHEs, are eligible to apply if the applicant was funded under any of the previous NOFAs, fiscal year 2014, 2015, and or 2016, and or the applicant received an FSS program through the transfer of consolidation from a PHA that was funded under such NOFAs. Now, please look at Appendix D, which provides a list of applicants who meet these criteria. If you are not listed in Appendix D, but you believe you meet the criteria, we request that you send us an email, and that email must be sent to fss@hud.gov. In the subject line, please place 2017 review of FSS eligibility, and the email must comprise of 3 components, which are the applicant's name, PHA number in the format found in the Appendix D, and a brief explanation of why the applicant believes they are eligible. Joint applicants. If you did not apply jointly under the most recently funded NOFAs, FY16, 15, or FY14, you may not apply jointly under this NOFA. However, if you did apply jointly, you can actually make changes to the composition of the joint applicants to remove any members or change a co-applicant to a lead applicant or vice versa. You cannot apply separately, and you cannot add new joint applicants under this NOFA. As with other applicants, the joint applicant group is subject to the cap on number of renewal positions. You can look at Section 4F3 for more information in the NOFA. Now I will turn it over to Darren Dorsett, who will go over number of families served.
Good, thank you, Michelle. We'll continue eligibility for funding as it relates to the number of families served in the FSS program. Similar to previous years, eligibility for funding is based on the number of FSS program participant in the applicant's entire FSS program during the target period that Michelle mentioned, the entire calendar year 2016, January 1st to December 31st. This count includes public housing residents, housing choice voucher, assisted residents, including those that have been assisted under the PBV or project-based voucher, as well as PBRA FSS participants. Similar to previous years, the formula remains the same. PHAs will need at least 15 to 24 families to support one part-time position. They'll need at least 25 families to support one full-time position. And you'll need an additional 50 families to support each additional position beyond the first full-time position. For example, 75 families supports 2 full-time positions, 125 families supports 3 full-time positions. The number of FSS families served is used to determine eligibility for funding, but it does not set a limit on the number of families that can participate in the program. Per HUD and the notice, you are encouraged to serve at least 50 FSS participants per full-time coordinator position. Continuing with number of families served, applicants will not be funded for part-time positions beyond their initial position. For example, 1.5 positions, 2.5 positions. There are 2 exceptions. The exception is that if the applicant was funded for a part-time position beyond the initial position in the most recently funded NOFA. Again, FY 2014, 15, or 16. Or if an applicant is under transfer or consolidation whose combined cap on renewal positions include part-time renewal positions beyond the initial renewal position. So let's briefly describe that. So again, how does that work for applicants who were most recently funded for a part-time position beyond that initial position? They first have to have at least the number of FSS families required for the next full-time position in order to be eligible for the same number of positions and to be eligible for the same amount of funding that were last funded in those previous years. Let's take a look at an example of how this works. Looking at example 1 in PHA-A, in fiscal year 2016, they were awarded 1.5 positions, and they were funded for $89,000. In fiscal year 2017 target period, they now have 75 families under the program. This PHA is eligible for 1.5 positions at $89,000 this year because it had 75 families in their program. Again, we want to emphasize that they had the minimum number needed for the next full-time position, and 75 will allow them to get to or be eligible for that next full-time position. Let's look at another example, example 2, PHA-B. Again, they were most recently funded for 1.5 positions for $89,000. But let's look at the target period. Look at the number of families that were served. It's actually 68. In this example, PHA-B is only eligible for one position this year because they don't have at least 75 families in the program. Again, they don't have the minimum needed for the next full-time position. Briefly, let's talk about the example under transfer and consolidations, where the combined number of renewal positions of the divesting and receiving PHA included a part-time position beyond that initial position. First, the receiving PHA will be eligible for the combined number of positions and the combined funding amount of the divesting and receiving PHA if, 1, the number of families in the receiving PHA's program during the target period is at least the same number of FSS families of the divesting and receiving PHA under the FY2016 FSS NOFA target period, or they have at least the required minimum number of families applicable to the next full-time position. Let's take a look at example 3. This is a good illustration of how this will work. In previous year, when in fiscal year 2016, PHA-A was awarded a part-time position at $23,500. PHA-B received a full-time position in the amount of $65,235. Let's look at the target period or number of families served during the target period. It's a total of 69. In order to be eligible for 1.5 positions at the total 88,735 under this funding category 1, PHA-B needs to have at least 69 FSS families during the NOFA's target period. In 2018, the receiving PHA will need to increase the number of FSS families to the required minimum applicable to the next full-time position, or at least 75 families, in order to continue being eligible for the same cap on the renewal positions and the renewal funding amount. I'll briefly hand it back to Michelle, who will discuss the threshold requirements.
Okay, the threshold requirements. There are 2 general sections for the threshold requirements this year: timely submission of application, resolution of civil rights matters prior to the application deadline. There are no program-specific threshold requirements, and if applicants do not meet the threshold requirements, they will not be evaluated. Other requirements. The following general section requirements apply differently to the FSS NOFA, and they're listed in the bullets below in the PowerPoint presentation. And you can see section 3D and 3E of the NOFA for additional details on how these requirements are applied to this program and for a list of program-specific requirements. Award information. Eligible activities. It continues to be payments of our salary and fringe benefits for the FSS coordinator. Funding awarded through this NOFA may be used to serve public housing residents, housing choice voucher participants, including PBV and PBRA residents. Salary comparability information. In the past, HUD asked that applicants keep documentation on file demonstrating that the salary that they are requesting is comparable to local wages for similar positions. Under this NOFA, you have to submit on Part 4 of the 52651 the salary comparability information. So again, you can see section 4B2C of the FY2017 NOFA for more information about this particular change. Unexpended funds. Funds projected to remain unexpended by the end of the grant period for adequate reasons, such as FSS coordinator turnover or prolonged absence, may be used for eligible administrative and training costs that is related to the FSS program, but this is subject to prior HUD approval. There is a cap of 10% of the total award amount. For example, if the grantee was awarded a grant for $45,000, no more than $4,500 may be approved for eligible administrative and training costs. Unexpended funds eligible activities. Examples of eligible training expenses include, but they are not limited to, training materials and/or costs of registration for training related to case management, service coordination, and economic self-sufficiency. PHAs or tribes, TDHE, seeking to use funds for these purposes must seek prior HUD approval from their local field offices before the grant period closes. Such administrative and training costs must be related to the FSS program. They are attributed to the PHA and not the family. Examples of eligible administrative expenses include, but are not limited to, mileage costs for visits to the FSS families in relation to the FSS coordinator's case management or coaching functions, and costs of FSS outreach materials. Now I will turn it over to Tremaine Humans for the funding restriction section.
Thank you, Michelle. So I'm going to talk about funding restrictions for the FY17 FSS NOFA. Funding restrictions. Applicants are allowed to or able to request funding increases for renewal positions only. Applicants can request up to the maximum award amount, $72,000, supported by salary comparability information for renewal positions. And once again, this is only for renewal positions. Cap on number of renewal positions. Applicants will not be awarded more renewal positions than the most number of FSS coordinators funded. However, applicants can apply for new FSS coordinator positions. And we will talk a little bit later of where you will indicate that you would like to apply for those new FSS coordinator positions. Ineligible activities, public housing or house choice voucher programs functions. Michelle mentioned this earlier. An FSS coordinator may perform some public housing or house choice voucher functions. However, it must be approved by the HUD field office if they want to do these functions. In order for it to be allowed, it has to enhance the effectiveness of the FSS program. Such an example of that can be re-examinations, and this is only for FSS participants. Home ownership functions. FSS funds may be used to perform home ownership functions for FSS families only, but this may not be the sole function for which funds are used. I encourage all those that are doing home ownership functions to make sure that you're in compliance with the home ownership counseling rule to continue providing home ownership counseling. Appendix D and supporting documentation. This NOFA includes Appendix D that has the following information: the number of FSS families in each eligible applicant's FSS program, FSS co-applicants in most recent funding year, number of FSS coordinators supported by PIC data, cap on number of renewal positions, and the PHA type. Supporting documentation. Earlier this year, in calendar year 2017, we sent out a get ready letter to those that will be eligible to apply for FY17 FSS funding. In that letter, we did state that we will no longer be accepting documentation to correct the number of FSS families as shown in the PIC report in Appendix D. There are some exceptions to this rule. Only the following applicants must submit an ad hoc report which details the number of participants served during the FY17 target period. Those are tribes, TDHEs, moving to work PHAs, and PHAs that serve project-based rental assistant families. Application review. In the FY17 FSS NOFA, we do have 4 funding categories under this NOFA. Funding will be distributed in order starting with funding category 1, then funding category 2, and so on. Funding category 1 is for renewal funding for eligible applicants. Funding category 2 is funding increase for eligible applicants increasing from a part-time position to a full-time position. Funding category 3, funding increases for full-time renewal positions. And funding category 4 is for new coordinator positions full-time that were not funded in 2014, fiscal year 2015, and fiscal year 2016 for eligible applicants. So let's talk about funding category 1. This is for renewal funding for eligible applicants. Applicants must meet the number of FSS family served eligibility requirement. Salary comparability requirements also apply. If applicants eligible for funding under this category is greater than the amount made available under this NOFA, HUD will equally prorate each award. Funding category 2. Funding increases for applicants increasing from a part-time renewal position to a full-time position. If funding remains under Category 1 after Category 1 has been funded, then we will make funding available for Category 2. An applicant may request under this category if his cap on renewal funding or cap on renewal positions is 0.5, 1.5, 2.5, and so forth. The order of funding will be determined on the applicant's client-to-staff ratio. The highest client-to-staff ratio will be funded first. Salary comparability requirements also apply under this category, and applicants who are listed in Appendix D as ineligible under this funding category may become eligible after submission of such documentation. This only applies if you are an MTW, a tribe, TDHE, and/or a PHA that serve PBRA FSS families. Funding Category 3, funding increase for a full-time renewal position. If funding remains after Categories 1 and 2 have been funded, then we will make funding available for Category 3. Applicants are subject to salary comparability requirements. If request for Category 3 is greater than the amount remaining after funding Categories 1 and 2, HUD will equally prorate each increase. Funding Category 4, new coordinator positions. If funding remains after we fund Categories 1, 2, and 3, we will then make funding available for Category 4. The order of funding will be determined on the client-to-staff ratio. Once again, applicants with the highest client-to-staff ratio will be funded first. No applicant will receive a second coordinator position until all eligible applicants have received one new coordinator position. If 2 or more applicants have the same ratio and funding is not enough to fund them all, then none of these applicants will be funded in this category. Applicants are subject to salary comparability requirements. Requests for new coordinators must be supported by the number of FSS families served eligibility requirements. Here's some additional information. Only PIC will be used to determine numbers of FSS families served unless you are MTW, PHA, tribe, and/or PHA that serves PBRA families in the FSS program. Applicants must submit only one application if applying under more than one funding category, and HUD will be able to indicate which categories you are requesting for on the 52651, the application form. So now we're going to get into some fun and talk about the FSS statutory and regulatory requirements. The FSS program termination due to reduced funding. Loss of funding for the FSS coordinator position does not relieve a renewal applicant from the contractual obligation to families already funded under an FSS contract. So if you are currently administering an FSS program and you are not funding under FY2017, you are still obligated to finish out the contracts that you have for those FSS participants that you are currently serving. Rental Assistance Demonstration, also known as RAD. PHAs that are converting or have converted public housing units to PBV assistance through RAD may use funds to serve those public housing FSS participants who live in units converted by RAD. PHAs may also offer enrollment in FSS residents in development converted to PBRA that were not enrolled in FSS prior to RAD conversion. PBRA owners that are not PHAs may implement their own FSS programs but are not eligible to compete for funding under this NOFA. Now I'm going to turn it over to Darren, who's going to talk about registration and application submission.
Good, thank you, Trey. Briefly, I want to discuss the registration process and requirements under this FY2017 FSS NOFA. First, only applicants that have a valid SAM.gov registration will be able to submit an electronic application via Grants.gov. Before submitting your application, again, every applicant must have an active SAM.gov registration and an active DUNS number. Now, getting a DUNS number and completing the SAM registration process may take several weeks, so we encourage applicants to start the process early, and they should check their status very early on. Again, for more information about the SAM registration process, please visit the website listed here below. Now let's get into the Grants.gov submission process. Again, only applicants are required to submit their applications via Grants.gov. They're only in extreme circumstances will an applicant be able to receive or request a waiver from the electronic submission requirement. The lack of having a SAM registration is not a valid or good cause for approving a waiver request. Look at Section 4A of the NOFA for more information on submitting or requesting a waiver to the electronic submission requirements. Briefly, once you get to Grants.gov, again, you'll identify the NOFA in which you're trying to apply for. You'll see a couple of sections. First, under the FSS NOFA, you'll see 3 mandatory forms. First is the SF424 form, the HUD 2880, and also the HUD 52651, or the FSS Program Coordinator Funding Form. Again, these mandatory forms should already be available if you continue scrolling down the bottom of the page. You'll also see a few optional forms, but again, you only need those forms if you are completing the SFLLL, which is the Disclosure of Lobbying Activities form. If you are not required to submit this form, don't include it in your application package. Briefly, I wanted to discuss some information on the HUD 52651 form. There have been several changes, as Michelle and Trey mentioned. Let's briefly go over that form. Part 1A, or Part 1 of the form, again, contains general information about the PHA or the applicant, as well as the co-applicants. In Part 2A of the form, that's where applicants will need to enter the total salary amount being requested for renewal positions. Again, these are positions that are being requested for renewal funding under Category 1. Applicants that are also applying for an increase of salary under funding Category 3, they'll also need to complete Section 2A. They'll also need to enter whether or not the positions are full-time or part-time, the number of hours for each position, and whether or not the positions are a supervisory or non-supervisory positions. Again, the latter 3 elements are new this year. In Part 2C of the application form, the total requested section, again, this information will automatically be populated based on information that was entered in Section 2A. You don't need to change or edit anything here. Next, let's review Part 2B of the 52651 form. So all applicants who are applying for a funding increase, again, for those applicants that are going from part-time renewal positions that are increasing the salary request for a full-time positions, again, these are funding Category 2 applicants, they must enter the requested increased amount, not the total amount being requested, in column 2 of this section. In Part 3, or in column 3, they'll also need to indicate that the position is part-time, and you'll also need to enter the number of hours worked for this position. Applicants who are requesting brand new positions, again, these are applicants that are requesting funding under funding Category 4. They must use Section 2B to enter any new positions. Please note that only full-time positions may be requested and funded under this funding category. Obviously, only full-time should be entered in column 3 for all positions. Next, Part 3 of the form. In this section, you will more than likely not see, because this section is only for PHAs that do not currently administer an FSS program. Next, I wanted to go over an important section, which is Part 4 of that HUD 52651 form. This is the section in which applicants will enter salary comparability information. Salary comparability information will be based on salary information for similar position in the applicant's area. There's an online resource that's available to you. The Career One-Stop Salary Finder, which is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor, can be used as the basis for only one of the salary comparables. Applicants can also contact their local workforce investment board in completing the salary comparability information section. Applicants located in remote areas that are unable to find reliable salary comparability information can use information for their next or nearby metropolitan area. We certainly encourage you to read Section 4B, 2C of the NOFA for additional information. Next, I'll cover reporting requirements. PHAs must also report FSS enrollments, progress, as well as exit activities for the FSS program participants in the HUD 50058 form within the PIC system. An FSS addendum must be submitted within 60 days of the effective date of each enrollment or exit activity for the FSS program and their families. A progress report must also be completed at least annually during each family's participation in the program. I didn't review all of the requirements for reporting. However, MTW PHAs, as well as other PHAs, should go back and look at the reporting requirements. For MTW PHAs, they should continue to use the HUD 50058 MTW and any additional reports required for MTW reporting. Again, as I mentioned, we're not going to discuss all of the reporting requirements here for the FSS program, but we certainly encourage PHAs to review PIH Notice 2016-08, as well as any subsequent amendments to the notice for information on FSS reporting requirements in PIC. We also published a broadcast or webcast in August of 2016 on this notice. The REACT Center had also published a set of warnings and fatal edits that were related to the PIC system in the year 2015. You can find all of these important resources at the website here listed. We're going to continue on with reporting as it relates to the voucher management system. Due to the combined funding streams, public housing agencies are no longer required to submit or use VMS to report HCV FSS coordinator expenses for funds made available under this NOFA. However, PHAs must continue to report HCV FSS coordinator expenses in the VMS for HCV FSS funds made available under an FY2013 or earlier HCV FSS NOFA. PHAs must continue to enter the amount of HCV FSS escrow deposits as well as the HCV FSS escrow forfeitures into VMS. These amounts expended in excess of an FSS grant for the coordinator salary and benefits must be reported in VMS, and they must be reported as administrative expenses. And this includes additional costs associated with the administration of the FSS program, such as office supplies, office space, or computer cost. PHAs with an FSS program that serves both public housing as well as HCV families with costs that are not chargeable to funds awarded under this NOFA, you are required to develop a cost allocation method that allocates these expenses fairly between two programs. You can see accounting brief number 23, financial reporting for the FSS program, again, which is accounting brief number 23. We go back to reporting and annual performance reports. Similar to previous years, a logic model is not required under this NOFA. The reporting of outcomes will be measured primarily through the PIC system. And this applies to FY2017 as well as FY2016 grantees. Grantees in the year 2015 or earlier, they're still required to submit a logic model. And all grantees are required to submit the SF425 or the federal financial report at the end of their reports, at the end of their grant cycle. Next, I'll turn it over to Michelle, who will provide more information on contacts and resources.
Thank you, Darren. Contacts and resources. For help with Grants.gov, please call the 800 number seen here on the slide, or you can also email supports@grants.gov or visit the website seen on the slide. For help with SAMS.gov, please contact the Federal Service Desk at the number provided or visit the www.fsd.gov website. For the 2017 general section questions, please contact the phone number below. And for persons with hearing or speech impairments, please access the number via the TTY by calling the Federal Relay Service at 800-877-8339. For questions, please do not hesitate to contact or email the FSS team at fss@hud.gov. Other resources, we have the funds available page at the website below, the FSS listserv where we send out information to you all, and the FSS webpage. These are resources where you can obtain any type of information that you may need that will help you with this NOFA. So again, we just want to say thank you very much for tuning in and joining us for this webcast. If you have any questions, again, please send it to fss@hud.gov, and we look forward to receiving the applications. Thank you again for joining in.